Good morning, all participants. I am Kaushik Desai, Secretary General of International Pharmaceutical Excipient Council of India, popularly known as Ipec India. On behalf of Ipec India, I have a great pleasure of welcoming Mr. Ajit Singh, Chairman Ipec India, Ravleen Singh Khorana, guest speaker of today, all participants to this webinar on judicious selection of lubricants in developing robust formulations. Participation across the globe, right from US, New Zealand, Bangladesh, Middle East, and Australia. IPEC India is not for profit organization. It is part of a global federating body, IPEC Federation, which comprises of 5 regional bodies, Americas, Europe, Japan, China, and India. IPEC promotes the quality of excipients and provide a unified voice to promote best use of excipients in medicines as a means of improving patient treatment and safety. The key objective of IPEC India is harmonization of standards, promoting supply chain security, development of third-party certification, and providing a source of advice and expertise to all stakeholders on excipients. The vision of IPEC India is to create awareness in GMP, GLP among excipient users and manufacturers, and simultaneously work towards bridging the gaps between local and global standards and regulations. The members of IPEC India gets benefited by having easy access to global guidelines and opportunity to take part in framing of new guidelines and position papers. This is a unique opportunity, and I can see that there are several participants from academia as well as from industry. The details about membership, you can always write to us an email to admin@ipecindia.org. I repeat, admin@ipecindia.org for more details. We'll welcome you to our committees as well as the opportunity to play a bigger role in IPEC in India. Without much ado, now I'll request Mr. Ajit Singh, Chairman of SEG Group of Companies and Chairman IPEC India, to give his opening remarks. Mr. Ajit Singh, please.
Thank you, Kaushik. I'd like to thank by talking about what a great event this is going to be, one of the first in the country of its type, and also to thank Kaushik Desai and his team, which includes Leena, Amana, Chotu, who's part of our team, Devendra, that is, and also to thank IPEC Federation, who have guided us from the beginning of our organization and continues to help us and invite us to their events around the world and gives us a lot of other guidance and assistance. Through their information that provided to us, we're able to keep all our members informed of what's happening in this industry around the world and what's happening with the regulatory background, which is so important for us who are in this industry. Our industry, which is the manufacture of excipients, is a young and a relatively new industry in India. But that does not belittle its importance. If you look at a tablet or a capsule, solid dosage forms, you'll find that the majority of pharma formulations are solid dosage forms. In a solid dosage form, we have the API, but the larger part of the weight and the volume of that dosage form is excipients. Now, we know how much importance the government of India and the Indian pharma industry is giving to stepping up our production of excipients and to make our country more self-sufficient. But when you consider that the major part of the formulation is not the API, it is the excipient, then I ask you, should we not be given the same importance to step up the production and variety of excipients in the country? It is often said that excipients are not so important because they're not active. Well, you know, the latest science for some years now is showing that functional excipients are indeed very important, and they can actually effect, delay, or accelerate the release and the functionality of the API itself. So there's no way that APIs are more important than excipients. Now, in order to increase the, the number of companies and expand the existing companies in this industry, one of the most important things, besides, of course, providing the money and the technology, is to have young professionals to join the industry and to run and develop the further industry. Join this industry in all the areas that pharma industry requires, in production, in other types of manufacturing, R&D, quality assurance, even in marketing. And here is a great opportunity for all the young people, students and teachers, who are amongst those who are listening to us today. We need you. But I want to ask, in your colleges, how many courses do you study in an average year on excipients? Is there a stream of learning that you can draw on to get part of your final approval and ratings by your excellence in excipients? This is something I request you, teachers and students, to please give careful thought to. And if you like, we can approach the AICTE to help you increase such courses. If you, in your colleges, want to know what sort of research work you can do in excipients, what is the requirement of the industry, please do write in to Kaushik Desai. He will put it before our committee, and we will send you back very good subjects that you could take up in excipients to help the pharma industry and help yourselves to get a good degree, and best of all, to have a really good job waiting for you when you graduate. I'd like to also thank all the people from industry who are listening, particularly those from a number of other countries. And what I mentioned here, I think, applies as much to your countries and your pharmaceutical education system as it does in India. Thank you very much, Kaushik, for giving me a chance to speak.
Thank you, Mr. Ajit Singh, for giving very inspiring and thought-provoking ideas, as well as the guidance and the directives to IPEC India. Now I'll just privilege to introduce our guest speaker of today, Ravleen Singh Khurana. He is an Indian excipient manufacturer named Nitika Pharmaceuticals. He is the developer of many unique processes and first in Asia to file US DMF for magnesium stearate way back in the year 2003. Mr. Ravleen ji started his business in the year 1982, immediately after finishing his pharmacy graduation, with a humble beginning as a young entrepreneur, inspired by then managing director of Ranbaxy at the age of mere 19. Today, Nitika Pharma, under his leadership, is one of the world's leading excipients manufacturing company, exporting to more than 90 countries. He has made technical excipient presentations in various forums in Europe, Middle East, Africa, China, and India. The company is one of the rare that works on QBD integrated manufacturing processes and helps others in developing their formulations. Ravleen ji is very active in excipient fraternity and is active member of our regulatory committee of IPEC India. Before I request Mr. Ravleen to start his presentation, my dear participants, I request all of you to mute your microphone if not done so far, although we have done for all, and start posing questions in between through question chat box, and we'll be taking our questions at the end of the presentation. So let us welcome Mr. Ravleen Singh Khurana to this webinar, and he'll be talking to us on judicious selection of lubricants in developing robust formulations. Mr. Ravleen ji, please.
Thank you, Kaushik ji. And thank you, Ajit ji, for sparing his precious time to be here. Before I start presentation, I'd like to say a few words about the excipient and excipient industry. We have been in this industry for about 30 years. And when we started, people were saying, excipient, it's a very low priority thing. Why you're getting into it? But I remember the golden words of Dr. Parvinder Singh, the then MD of Ranbaxy, who told me it's very easy to check the quality of API because of its chemistry, because of its structure-activity relationship. And as all of you or most of you are pharmacists, you know that it's predictable. If you know the structure of an API, you can predict its working or its performance. Against that, in excipients, it's very tough. So it's something like invisible thing which you need to handle. But at the same time, excipient has a great impact on the formulations that we make. So making a right quality excipient, making excipient could be easy, but making the right quality excipient is a very tough job, which we'll see in this presentation also. And I'm sure at the end of this presentation, you all will appreciate that excipient is not so easy. And many of you could look forward to doing some more research in excipient field, because ultimately, what is a formulation? Most of it is excipients. What is formulation development? Can you do something to API? No. So most of the things are with the excipient. You can maneuver the properties of excipient, their permutation combinations, and try to get the desired formulations. So friends, now we start with today's topic, the judicious selection of lubricants in developing robust formulations. First, let us look at the lubrication deliverables. What deliverables we look forward to from the lubrication? Lubrication is a universal process, not only in pharma, but it finds application in almost all walks of life. Let's have a look at this video.
हाँ बोलो, गुड मॉर्निंग. हाँ મેં તો લખી નાખ્યું છે, આઈ એમ ઓકે કરીને. કોઈ કે કીધું નથી ને? હા.
So I'm sure you must have enjoyed this video. It's almost the lunch time, but what's worth noting is the lubricant which was applied in the beginning so that these idlis could be removed smoothly. So if we look at the deliverables of lubrication, they are same even in idli or even in tablets. Essentially, lubrication means reducing friction between the die walls and the tablet body, between the punches faces and the caps, between the tablet faces, and always we need to reduce the friction between dies and punches. So one important feature of lubrication is to reduce the friction. Same way in ball bearing or in other application also, lubrication is doing the same role. Second is ensuring the smooth ejection. You have seen that once the oil was applied, the idlis could be removed very smoothly. Same way, tablets can be removed easily from the tableting machine if the lubrication is smooth. Preventing capping. Now, why the capping happens, we'll see in detail later, and lubrication helps in preventing the capping as well. Reducing wear and tear of the machine parts, dies and punches. Preventing picking and sticking. So tablet picking and sticking is another issue, another challenge that we face if the lubrication is not proper. Again, we are going to handle it in details. Aiding flow. So the flow is basically job of a glidant like talc, etc. But magnesium stearate or any lubricant per se has some flow properties which helps in increasing the flow of the formulations, granules. Helping in tablet formation. So when the tablet body is being formed, again, lubricant plays a role by ensuring the smooth edges and the surfaces. So these are the key deliverables from the lubrication. Now, what is the lubrication process? This is very interesting. So you all must have seen the deck of cards. I have some for you. So this is deck of cards. So these cards can be spread very easily. Why? Because there is lubrication between the cards. Same way, like many of the lubricants like magnesium stearate, they are like this deck of cards. And when you do the lubrication, their layers remove like this. And these individual layers, they encircle the granules and make them lubricated. So most of the lubricants exist like plate of crystals stacked like deck of cards. And when you do blending in a blender, these plates come off one by one and they coat nearby particles. So the main role of lubricant is to coat the granule particles, making them smooth and lubricated. At the same time, there's a caution. Many of you must be experts in the industry and you can definitely tell us better about it. But unfortunately, this is a webinar, so it's one way, so only I have to speak. So if I allow you expert to speak, what you'll tell me that there should not be a over lubrication. So the effective lubrication is only if it is partial. If you do full coating, then it could have issues with the tablet attributes. That also we are going to see. So this is simple lubrication process. Now let's see the challenges that we see in lubrication. So the first challenge that we see in lubrication is picking and sticking. Like if you have a tablet and its surface is not smooth, the part of tablet has been picked up because of sticking to dies and punches. That is called picking and sticking problem in the tableting. Now, this problem mostly is due to the poor quality of lubrication or poor quality of the lubricants. The job of the lubricant is to make a layer between punch faces and the tablet body. And thus, when the dies and punches are moving at a fast speed, they don't pick up a part of the tablet and go. So there should be, like for idli, we made that oil layer. Similarly, there should be a layer of lubricant which will not allow punch to pick up a piece of tablet and deface the tablet. So a good lubricant will not allow picking and sticking to happen. So this is one of the first challenges in lubrication. Now we come to the second challenge, that is friability and capping. Friability, as you all know, it's when you do that friability test in a friability testing equipment, some part of the tablet comes off as a powder, and that gives us an idea when the tablets are being transported, what could be the wear and tear to the tablets. So if the lubrication is not proper, it can lead to the friability, and also it will have the capping problem. The capping means a part of the tablet breaks into two parts, and the upper part, like a cap, is removed by the punch and the tablets are rejected. So if the lubricant is like, it affects the friability, because if it is not done in a proper way, some of the particles of lubricants are big enough, they'll make a layer. They'll make a layer which will not allow the binder to work, and thereby allowing tablet to be divided into two parts, and the punch will pick up one part, upper punch, and the other part might be remain there. So the effective lubricant also ensures that there is no friability and capping problem. Now we come to the dies and punches. Tableting machine are becoming more and more high speed. Ajit Singh is there. He's an expert in the world in the tableting machines. So he can tell us definitely that with the fast moving dies and punches, there is no other lubricant there. We cannot put grease. So the only lubricant there is that comes from the tablets. So whatever lubricant we add to the tablets is going to help you in lubricating the dies and punches and reducing their wear and tear. So if the lubricant is again poor quality, it will not reduce the friction between dies and punches. Then there will be chipping of faces of dies and punches, and the life of dies and punches will be reduced, thereby wearing it out. Now it's a vicious circle. Once your dies and punches are worn out, they pick up tablets more. They pick up tablets more, and again wear and tear increases, and again there are more defacing of dies and punches and so on and so forth. So you have to change parts very frequently. So another important challenge in lubrication. The next one is smooth and shiny tablets. Aesthetics play a vital role. So when, as a patient, suppose we take a tablet and the tablet is not smooth and shiny, we have a feeling, oh, it should be low quality, though it doesn't have the direct impact on therapeutics, but the placebo role is known by all of us. So the psychology plays an important role. So if you want a smooth and shiny tablet, your lubricant should be so nice that it will make a good layer between your tablet and the punch face and the die face, so that the tablet coming out has that shine on the tablet. And also it will, like we said, it will improve the life of your dies and punches. So your dies and punches are good, so they'll ensure the tablets are smooth and shiny, so on and so forth. So this also from the marketing side plays a very vital role. If you talk to a marketing wala, he'll say, yes, if you have a smooth and shiny tablet, doctors also like it more than the other tablets. Now, the tableting machine. So if your tableting machine is working with dies and punches which are worn out, and the lubricant is not reducing the friction, what will happen? It will have to exert more force. You have to increase the pressure, and then your machine will be working on overload. Simple, like a ball bearing. In the ball bearing, if there's no proper grease, your ball bearing will be worn out fast, and your machine also could be thrown out of order. Same way, a lubricant acts as a grease between dies and punches, thereby reducing the load on the tableting machines and preventing the breakdown. There has been studies in which it has been, the data has been taken out that suppose you have a good lubricant, what is the breakdown? If you have a bad lubricant, what is the breakdown? And it very clearly shows that there's a great impact on the machine life and the breakdowns of machines. This is a major challenge. One of the ultimate aim of having a tablet is to have the effect fast. How a tablet gives the effect in the human body is first by getting disintegrated into small pieces. Then from those minute particles, the drug is leached out by dissolution, and then it is absorbed by the human body to give us the desired plasma concentration, thereby giving us the relief. So the lubricant, if it is not proper, then there could be a layer of lubricant over particles which is more than required. Now it's a kind of a rope walk where you want on one side the particles to be lubricated smoothly so that they are not sticking to dies and punches, they are being ejected out properly. At the same time, if there's an over lubrication, which we also saw in the process of lubrication, third point, it will delay the disintegration and dissolution specially. So a dissolution means the gastric fluid entering the particles and the drug coming out and dissolving in the stomach or intestinal fluid. But where this is obviously aqueous fluid, and most of the lubricants are hydrophobic material, or they are at least oily material, they are lubricants. So they, on over lubrication, can prevent the entry of gastric or intestinal fluid, thereby having a profound effect on dissolution. Again, in our case study, we are going to talk more about this. Now, this is a million-dollar question. We have to define what we mean by right lubricant. So what is the right lubricant? Again, let's watch this video. So you all must have enjoyed this video, and it also tells you how a right lubricant should be. This was the soap football. Soap football is played by putting the soap solution and the players play on that soap solution, which makes it very slippery. So essentially here you require, in very low concentration, it should make the floor slippery. Humans are there, so safety of humans is very important, and it should be inert. So this soap solution need to be safe and inert, and it should be time tested and stable. So in short, the lubricant deliverables are same. Maybe the soap football, maybe the idli, maybe the pharma tablets. So in pharma also, essentially, we want the lubricant to act in low concentration. As we have seen in the last slide on dissolution, that high concentrations can have issues with the dissolution sometimes. Then obviously it's going in the human body, so it has to be inert and safe, needless to say. Then it has to be time tested. With pharmaceuticals, we cannot take any chance. So stability and the age-old time tested excipients and lubricants are always needed. Then it needs to maintain the consistent quality. This is sometimes a major challenge, maintaining the quality of consistent quality of lubricant. So there comes the role of excipient manufacturers to offer you the consistent quality every time, and they should then ensure the consistent quality of the pharmaceuticals in which they are being used. They should ensure the compressibility of tablets. They should not interfere with the compressibility. Sometimes the over lubrication can literally stop you from compressing tablets. You cannot compress tablets at all. So compressibility should not be altered. Hardness, again, if there's less compressibility, you increase the force, so hardness could increase and it can have the negative effect on dissolution, disintegration, etc. Disintegration time, so again the same chain of things can affect the disintegration time. It can increase it because you have to use more force, and hardness increases and DT increases. Ultimately, the dissolution time, which is a key parameter. So a lubricant needs to maintain all this. At the same time, it should be having the desired properties. Then we can call it as a right lubricant. Now, what causes batch to batch variation in lubricants? This, now we are coming to the lubricant manufacturing. If you're looking at the apples on the right side of the screen, you can see there's a green apple and there are some red apples, and they're of different shape and sizes. So in lubricant manufacturing also, we need to control the differences in particle size, and there should be an even particle size distribution. So particle size and their distribution both are critical as far as the lubrication is concerned. Now we come to the second part, is a specific surface area. This is one of the most critical parameter. So if we can control the specific surface area in a right way, then only we can ensure the lubrication is proper. Then differences in bulk density. So BD also plays a very vital role. Reason being that what you are concerned is the volume of lubricant, not the weight. So suppose your BD doubles. I mean, hypothetically, practically it will not, but hypothetically suppose it doubles. Then you have double the volume of lubricant available, which may do double the lubrication and which can upset the apple cart. So here you need to be concerned about the bulk density of your lubricant or other excipients also. Now, difference in crystal structure. So many of the lubricants are available in different crystals like monohydrate, dihydrate, and so on and so forth. So there, the similar or the same crystal type is preferred to give you reproducibility. Difference in manufacturing process. Now, the different manufacturers use different manufacturing processes. There's not much control over the manufacturing process. And this manufacturing process subsequently has an effect on the physical properties of the lubricants. And please mind well, in excipients, in all excipients, the physical property play a much wider role, much important role than its chemical property. Chemical property has almost no role to play. So you have to control the manufacturing process in such a way that you are able to deliver the right set of physical properties every time with every batch. Then differences in chemical composition. Sometimes the chemistry of a lubricant is not perfectly defined. For example, let's take example of magnesium stearate, the most widely used lubricant. There it says the total fatty acids, total sum of palmitic and stearic acid has to be 90% and stearic acid has to be 40%. There could be case A when stearic acid is 89% and 1% palmitic acid, and there could be case 2 which is 40% stearic acid and 50% palmitic acid. In both the cases, the chemistry will be totally different and which will have an impact on the working of the lubricant. So these are some of the important criteria which needs to be considered while making the right lubricants. Now, we need to ensure the optimum concentration of lubricants in the tablet formulation or capsule formulation, because the low concentration can lead to punch filming, picking like we have seen, sticking, capping, binding in the die cavity, whereas the high concentration can decrease the tablet hardness. It can enable, like we discussed, the tablets cannot be compressed at all. It can have a negative impact on disintegration time. It can upset your dissolution profile. So like we need to maintain the optimum balance of concentration, and the optimum concentration will give you the right lubrication. Like you see on the screen, there are different glasses of sorbet, and on the lower side also the sorbet will not taste good or look good. On the higher also it doesn't. So you need to have the optimum concentration. Having said that, we now look at some of the common lubricants. So as you all know, magnesium stearate is one of the world's most widely used lubricant. We have almost 80 to 90% of the formulations of tablets which are formulated on magnesium stearate for more than 100 years. Then comes a next generation lubricant, which is sodium stearyl fumarate. This sodium stearyl fumarate has an edge over magnesium stearate because of its low hydrophobicity, and it can get into water easily as compared to magnesium stearate. So you get better profiles, and especially for ODTs and the mouth dissolving tablets, you can use the sodium stearyl fumarate as one of the lubricant. Then comes calcium stearate and zinc stearate. These are the brothers and sisters of magnesium stearate, and only difference is of the metal ion. So instead of magnesium, we are using calcium or zinc, which if you have some issue with the magnesium, you can go to calcium or zinc. Stearic acid powder is another key lubricant which is of late in demand now. It's a very old molecule, but recently it's in use. One of the reason is it's an acidic lubricant, whereas most of the above 4 widely used lubricants are alkaline lubricants. So if you have acidic formulation like acetaminophen or ibuprofen, in some of the acidic formulations, you will have issues. You may have issues with the alkaline lubricants, and there you need an acidic lubricant. So stearic acid comes to your aid when you are formulating some acidic drugs. Then comes polyethylene glycol or PEG. PEG is a soluble, water soluble molecule. So in cases where you want water solubility, like the tablets which are dissolved before we take them, like effervescent tablets, there we use the PEG. Hydrogenated castor oil is also very old but very limited use lubricant. Boric acid powder, we know it's a good lubricant, but it's not used much in the pharma because of its now the side effects, like it has some toxic side effects. But we all know its lubricant property by playing carom boards. So I'm sure most of you must be playing carom boards and use a lot of boric powder as a lubricant there. Apart from these lubricants, there are a few formulated lubricants. For example, combination of magnesium stearate and SLS is a SteroWet, and there are more example of formulated lubricants which are not a single molecule, but they are a formulation of 2 or more individual lubricants or surface active agents, etc., which are desired to give you the kind of lubrication you want. Now, there's a very one important question: how to decide on the lubricant quality. So unlike API, excipient quality does not depend on the chemistry. This is a very important statement. So many times what we do, we use the lubricants or excipients and test them before doing it. Most of the tests are chemical tests. So when you are doing chemical test, when you are doing the chemical testing, it will tell you about the chemistry. And unfortunately, chemistry doesn't play much role in the lubrication or per se any excipient. So you can't say much about the quality of excipient by the checking its chemistry. But with the API, most of it is chemistry. Then how to check the efficiency of an excipient or a lubricant? So this depends on a lot of physico-chemical. Most of them are physical and a few chemical parameters. And we need to do the functionality related test, FRCs, to check the quality of excipients. Of late, the pharmacopoeias are including FRCs. The Chinese pharmacopoeia has made FRC a compulsory test. USP, EP has some tests on the lubrication, like we have to check the surface area, etc. of the lubricant. So those tests can give you a limited visibility. Still, you cannot be sure. So that means it's easy to test the quality of excipient based on pharmacopoeial testing, but based on today's pharmacopoeial testing, at least, you cannot say much on the quality of lubricant. So if you check your lubricant as per pharmacopoeia, use it in the formulation, there is a good chance that your formulation could go wrong. Whereas if you check the API as per the pharmacopoeia, the chance is very rare. So then the $1 million question, how you check the quality of API excipient? The answer is QBD approach. QBD, as you all know, is quality by design. This is a very interesting concept, and of late it is gaining a lot of importance in excipient field especially. When the industry started, not only pharma, the complete industrial revolution took place, the onus of maintaining quality was with the production. Then it shifted with the quality control. Finally, it shifted to QA, and the QA assumed a very high role, which still is there. But now the new concept or the latest concept is the quality by design, which shift the onus of maintaining quality from QA to R&D. So that means while developing a product, if you have taken enough care, then your product will not go wrong throughout its product life cycle. We'll see in detail how it is done. So this is the deciding of effective lubricant by the QBD way, quality by design way. So as you know, in any QBD scheme, you need to identify the QTPP. The QTPP, or the quality target product profile of the drug, has to be identified. Let's say you are going to make the sustained release tablets. So for making enteric coated sustained release tablets, that becomes your QTPP. Then you need to determine the CQAs, or the critical quality attributes. So for a sustained release tablet, which is enteric coated, your release profile will be the critical quality attribute. So that becomes your CQA. And then you need to link the CQA to the CMA. The critical material attributes of your raw materials, that is lubricant, needs to be linked with the critical process parameters to the quality, final quality attributes of the finished formulation. So here, specific surface area is a key material attribute of lubricant, which needs to be linked with the critical quality attribute, that is the release profile that we have checked. So we'll see how surface area and the CQA, that is the release profile, is going to be linked. Then you need to do the risk assessment. So risk assessment can be done by doing the disintegration test and dissolution test. Then you have to develop a design space. That is, you need to make the standard manufacturing procedures. These design and implement control strategy by making in-process quality checks and the standard testing procedures. And you can manage the product life cycle, including the continuous improvement. So it's very simple. First, you have to identify the critical, the quality target product profile, that is QTPP. You have to link it with the CQA, the critical quality attributes, then link that CQA, you identify the CQA pertaining to the QTPP. Once you have done that, you link it to the CMA, the critical material attribute, in this case, the surface area. So you should know what differences in surface area is going to do what with the release profile. Then you do risk assessment by doing disintegration dissolution. You have to define like how much lubricant you'll add, what is the process, what is the blending time, because if you just fix the critical material attribute, but you don't look at the process parameters, you will not get the results. So you need to fix up the process parameters and the material attributes and link them with the specific surface area and do the experiments, which will tell you which is the ideal combination. Once you have ascertained the ideal combination of materials and the process, then you have to fix them and validate the process, make standard manufacturing procedures. Then you need to check whether whatever you have done is working or not through IPQA methods and the test procedures. And once you do this, you have to manage the product throughout its life cycle. And also, depending on the feedback, you can try to do some improvisations in the life cycle. So this is how we go with the finding or selection of lubricant using the QBD tool. I know it's a complex subject. It's not very easy. And many of you are students also here. I'm trying to make it as simple as possible. But I would have been happy that if this would have been a live seminar, but you can at the end ask questions and clear all your doubts. Now, why QBD is important for selection? So visual will answer this question very easily. Now, you can see on the left side, this shows a variable raw material, and this is a fixed process. So your process is validated, perfect, perfect, perfect. What you did, you change the source of a lubricant from A to B. And your specification says surface area range 5 meters square to 15 meters square per gram. So you got a sample. The first, it was coming around 5-6 meters square per gram. Then you changed to a lubricant which was 10 meters square per gram. And then finally you got from a third guy, and or the same guy is giving you a batch to batch variation. And now the result is 14 meters square per gram. You will do the testing as per your STP. So your limit says 5 to 15 meters square per gram. So all the three are perfectly passing. So as per, the things, the raw material is okay, and you can go ahead with the manufacturing. So here, if you see the wave, the first point could be the material with the 10 meters square per gram. Then at the higher end of the wave, it is 15 meters square per gram. Then again, you got a material of 5 meters square per gram. Then, 10 meter, and then finally the 5 meters square per gram. So the tip of the, like you can see this tip, this is for the 5 meters square per gram, the trough, and the peak is for the 15 meters square per gram, and this is 10 meters square per gram is the average. So you are using a material which is variable, which is going up and down. Your process is fixed, is a straight line. So you are combining process and raw materials to get the finished product. So how will be your finished product? Obviously, it's going to be variable. So your dissolution will not be okay, may not be okay. If the drug is having high lubrication sensitivity, it will not give you the desired dissolution profile. So what you need to do, you need to control the critical material attributes, and that will ensure, that will give a straight line like is in the process, and then only your finished product will be a straight line. This is the $1 million take. We said in the beginning in our topic, selection of right lubricant for the robust formulation, making of the robust formulation. Now, first we should define what is robust formulation, because a robust could be different for different materials. In case of pharmaceuticals, a robust formulation means it has to be safe for the humans, it should not have side effects, it should be efficient, it should have the proved efficacy, it should be reproducible. You can make again and again the same quality in the manufacturing process, and it's easy to manufacture. Its manufacturability has to be reasonably easy, so that that will ensure the reproducibility of the product. So essentially, a robust formulation means it has these 4 criteria: safety, efficacy, reproducibility, and easy manufacturability. If your formulation is having these 4 criteria, you can say that your formulation is a robust one. And QBD helps you in making robust formulation. There can be a reproducible formulation and a robust formulation. Both are different. A reproducible has to be reproduced using similar materials, similar process. But when we say similar, we have no control over it. There is no much logic involved there. So one supplier A is giving you product, and you are using it within certain set of parameter or specification, and you have a set process. But there also the reproducibility could be questioned because there is no logic. Whereas in case of these formulation, robust formulation, they are based on logic. Why this parameter will do. Suppose you are getting lubricant from manufacturer X is giving you Y surface area. So let's go to manufacturer Z, who can also give you the Y surface area, and then you can have the similar formulation. So that's why we all should want to have the robust formulation having these 4 criteria. And for this, we have discussed how we can select the right lubricant. Now, we have a case study here to discuss with you all, which will make things easy for you to understand that whatever we have said from the beginning, how to select the right lubricant, that has been demonstrated in the research article. This is a comparative study on magnesium stearate. Here we are sharing a research paper. This was published in the International Journal of Pharmaceutical Sciences and Research in 2012. These studies were conducted in renowned laboratory in Mumbai, who compared magnesium stearate coming from Nitika and magnesium stearate of Malincrot coming from USA. Again, this is a study published in a research paper. So we have just taken the inputs from there. We have not done anything in our lab, but as it's in the public domain and done by a renowned company, one of the top companies in Mumbai, we are sure that this is a good data that they have produced. Plus, we are giving a link here, which you can click and go to the original research paper. So this study gives emphasis on the decisive role of particle size of magnesium stearate, its concentration, lubrication time to establish the desired quality attributes of formulation containing highly soluble drug metformin hydrochloride. Now, why they should have chosen the drug metformin? Simply because this particular study is telling us how a highly water soluble drug will behave. So every drug will not behave this way. So here for the highly soluble drug, this study has been conducted, and in this the emphasis has been given on the decisive role of particle size, like we have said in the beginning, concentration, we have talked in the beginning, and lubrication time. Yes, lubrication time also plays a very vital role in lubrication. If the lubrication time is not controlled properly, the formulation may not be the perfect formulation and it can have the variable results. So these key things have been studied in this research article. So here we have been comparing the two makes for blending time and compressibility index and Hausner ratio. So what we are doing here, we are here checking that if we take two different formulations, what will be its compressibility index and what will be its Hausner ratio. So the Hausner ratio, as you all know, is a number that is correlated to the flowability of a powder or granular material. So these are the powder flow characteristics. Both of them are the powder flow characteristics, and compressibility tells you how nicely it could be compressed into tablets. So F5, F10 and F15 in the compressibility index graph are the 5 minutes blending time, 10 minutes blending time and 15 minutes of blending time results. And the two bars are, one is with the Nitika make of magnesium stearate, other is a Mallinckrodt Baker make of magnesium stearate. So if you observe, in 5 minutes both the results are good, but when you are extending the time of blending time to 10 to 15 minutes, with one product the results are good, but with the other they are going little out, they are fair, they are not good. Now we come to the Hausner ratio. In Hausner ratio, with 5% blending time, with the first make, the results are excellent. And whereas with the other make, they are just passable. So in this observation, it's very contrast that the magnesium stearate coming from one manufacturer, Nitika, is giving you excellent results, but with the coming from another manufacturer, Mallinckrodt, in this particular formulation, in this particular experiment, is just passable. And as we go on, in 15 minutes of blending time, both the makes are giving the perfect results. So, but there's a catch here. If you do blending for 5 minutes only, then with one manufacturer, you have good results or excellent results. But if you use the other product in this formulation, the Hausner ratio could be only passable. And if you go to 15 minutes, you will have a good Hausner ratio with both the ones, but with one of the manufacturer, it's only fair. So this tells you, you have to choose the right lubricant. Here again, we don't know. We are just comparing this research study. There could be more grades from the Mallinckrodt also, which might give you the similar results. But in this experiment, whatever grade has been used gives you the results which are, not so good for this particular formulation. Now we go to the next slide. We have mentioned in the beginning the effect of lubrication on the friability index. Now friability is an important criteria because it tells us on during the shelf life, during the transportation, how the tablets are going to be intact. And here we are having again the three concentrations of magnesium stearate lubricant, 0.75%, 1% and 1.25%. And again we are using 5, 10 and 15 minutes each set. So we'll not go to the each result, but you see across the board with there are two makes again. One is coming from Nitika, particular grade. that is giving you results which are close to 0.3%. So most of the results are 0.25 and some of them are 3.38 or something. So its average will be around 0.3. Whereas if you look at the other make, Melincrot, you will find the ratios are the friability index is on the higher side. And in some cases, it is going close to 0.6 also. So that means a lubricant can play a very vital role in deciding the friability index. We now come to the important criteria, impact of lubrication on disintegration time. Here, the disintegration time or DT is very prominently affected by the choice of lubricant. We see here, again the blue bars are coming from Nitika, magnesium stearate, and another bars coming from Melincrot. And again, the researcher has used 0.75%, 1% and 1.25% concentration. And he has done the studies with 5, 10 and 15 minutes of blending time. And the outcome is that with the one manufacturer, you're getting the results around 8 to 10 minutes of DT, whereas some of the results with the other make are crossing 18 and average could be around 14 to 15. So this is a remarkable difference. And mind well, here we are just talking of one particular drug and its behavior with respect to these different lubricants. So this particular water soluble drug in this experiment is very clearly showing that the results with Nitika material are quite favorable, whereas with the other make, they are not so much on the desired side. Now we go to the very important criteria, that is the dissolution profile. The dissolution profile is a very, very important criteria. It tells you whether the drug concentration will reach your plasma levels of the drug will reach the therapeutic window, how fast. So onset of the drug action starts once the threshold limit of the therapeutic window is breached. So once your plasma level is above that threshold limit, you'll start to having the therapeutic effect and it remains there for some time and then it goes down. So here, if you observe, there are six graphs, N5, N10, N15, 3 from Nitika, and M5, M10, and M15, 3 from Melincrot. So 5, 10, and 15 tells you the blending time. So Nitika, 5 minutes blending time, 10 minutes, 15 minutes, and same with the Melincrot. This observation is very loud and clear and tells us two things. One, the curves N5, N10, and N15 are all superimposed. This is my favorite question which I asked while making presentation, why so? And now I have to give the answer. The answer is that shows there is no effect of blending time on this particular magnesium stearate. So if you do blending for 5 minutes, 10 minutes or 15 minutes, you are getting the same superimposed curve, no change. Whereas with the other make, there is some change with respect to the blending time. Now why so? If we go into the basics, like we discussed, it's like deck of cards and it makes a coat over the granules. Now, depending on the particle size and shape, it could be impervious to the fluid, the dissolution fluid, and that will decide the dissolution. So in this case, we see that, and also there's some aggregate sometimes which takes time to break. So when you're doing blending, those plates shear off and then go to the, coat the particles, more blending time and sometimes it's more lubrication. Whereas in some cases, that might not be true. So this dissolution curve tells us that in case A, with Nitika things, we have 5 minutes of blending time and the result of 10% is more than 80%, whereas the other make, it is less than 40%. So this is, a very clear observation that the selection of lubricant has to be right. Again, I'd like to make it clear, we are not talking of any particular make of lubricant, but these are particular grades that has been selected by researcher, and those grades are behaving in this particular way. And I advise you, you all can go to the link of this research paper and get more details. It's very interesting. Now we go to the 1% magnesium stearate concentration. The last was 0.75, and as expected, the results are on the same lines but more pronounced. The N5, N10 and N15 curves are superimposed, whereas the M curves are not imposed, and you see that in 10 minutes the blending time with 15 minutes of blending is less than 40%, whereas in other case it is going towards 80%. So this is the effect of lubricant. Imagine the same formulation, the same tablet, everything same. What you did, you just changed the source of magnesium stearate, and just with one change you have such a profound effect on your dissolution. It has been reduced to a very different curve. Now they are trying with 1.25% magnesium stearate, and here you find that the final dissolution is about 85 or less than 90% in case of M10 and M15 curves, whereas with the N curves it is almost close to 100%. So this is a very, very important finding, that at the end of the dissolution curve, that is after 45 minutes, in one case it is 85%, and in other case it is close to 100%. And also if you look at after 10 minutes with some curve, it is 30%, other it is about 70%. So this is what QBD talks about, that if you choose the right lubricant, then you can have the right dissolution and your patients can have the right kind of relief. Now we have chosen this study, and we'll share the conclusion of this case study with you. So this study is concluding that the particle size and subsequently the surface area, because surface area is a function of the, to a great extent, is a function of the particle size, and it has an effect along with concentration and lubrication time, and all these three things. Blending time is a process parameter, concentration and the surface area are the material attributes. So if you go back to our slide, which shows linking of critical material attributes and the QTPP, the quality target product profile, here is the dissolution. So I read it out for you. This study concluded that change in particle size, hence surface area of magnesium stearate, and with the concentration and lubrication time can affect the properties of a blend or tablet significantly, such as disintegration time, hardness, and most importantly, the dissolution. The tablets concentration of magnesium stearate of large particle size have shown the highest percentage of drug release as a consequence of poor hydrophobic coating on the granules of highly soluble drug. However, tablet containing magnesium stearate with smaller particle size and large surface area have shown a slower drug release profile. The study investigated that by selecting appropriate particle size of magnesium stearate, which of course you can do it through surface area measurements also, along with some other factors like lubrication concentration and blending time, we can achieve the desired release profile, and a very high quality, cost effective formulation can be made. So this case study very clearly tells you, like, one excipient can take your dissolution from where to where. So everything is same, the API is same, the formulation is same, the specs are same, but just a few things like the particle size, surface area, blending time, and a great impact on your formulation. Now you have chosen the right lubricant. So what next? Very obviously, you can make the robust formulations. And here, if you observe, when the dies and punches are moving, if the lubricant is not there, this will stick to the walls of the dies and the punch faces. And also at the end, you can see how the ejection is there and how a lubricant can do its job. So I'm sure you must have seen this tableting machines many number of times, but now with this perspective of right lubricant, and also in the hopper, you can see the flow of powder on the left side. So please have a look at this video with the new lubricant perspective. Here you go. So here we come to the end of the presentation.
Yeah, Mr. Ravleen Ji, thank you very much. We'll keep the session open for question answer session. I have received many questions through question and answer chat box. And without spending much time, I'll just straight away go to the questions.
Great.
There is a question: has the DMF inspection triggered by US FDA?
Yes, just a minute. I'll put this slide, the original one. Shall I keep this thank you slide or I go to the original slide?
It's up to you. Whichever way you feel answer is better responded.
I'm not getting the slide, so I'll keep it here. Okay.
Okay.
For excipients, US FDA doesn't go for inspection, but you have to file a DMF, a drug master file, which we are among the first one in the Asia and second in the world to file a US FDA DMF as early as 2003. So there was no inspection because in excipients, there's no US FDA inspection.
Okay, thank you.
At the same time, there has been inspections by many companies like Pfizer, Novartis, Sanofi, AstraZeneca, Johnson & Johnson, and there's a long list, Abbott, and so on and so forth. Whereas the regulatory bodies have done inspection as per WHO, as per EU GMP, and as per several other norms. Yeah.
Okay, thank you. I will go to next question. Is capping a cause of air entrapment due to excessive fines in the granules?
Capping can occur due to many reasons, and entrapment of air bubbles is one of them. Also, the air bubble entrapment has to do something with the lubricant. If the mixing of lubricant is not proper, it can entrap some air. So yes, the air entrapment can be without lubricant also. There could be other reasons, and the lubricant can also be a cause of capping. And there are numerous causes. If you go in details, there could be at least 3 or 4 prominent causes which can cause capping, like binder, like the formulation, how it was made, the binding process, and so on and so forth. But yes, air bubbles can cause capping.
Okay, thank you.
Welcome.
There's another question maybe from academia. What particle size is best for binding? I know it's a highly debatable and question, but you can just give a general idea.
Yes, yes, yes. I mean, I like these challenging questions where you can try to test your knowledge. So, see, small particle size means high surface area. High surface area means more coating with less dose of lubricant. That's why a higher surface area means your lubrication will be affected more. So here, I like to say that if you want the binding to be proper, you should not have very high surface area. What basically we can do, we can divide the drugs into 3 or 4 different parts where the drugs are highly soluble and drug is low soluble. And the formulation is a high lubricant sensitive one or low lubricant sensitive one. So these are the 2 axes. If you plot them on x and y axis, and if on one side your lubricant sensitivity is going up, other side solubility is going up, then if your drug is low in soluble, then dissolution will be a challenge, and that could be overcome by using lubricant which is having not very small particle size. So that's the take. So their surface area should be low. That should be 5 or maybe below 5. So that, I mean, that's a general answer, which may work with most of the formulation where dissolution is an issue because of the low water solubility of the API.
Okay, thank you. And there's another question. You made one passing statement that chemical composition is not very important in your talk for the batch to batch consistency and the lubrication. Can you elaborate further on that?
Yes, a very, very interesting question. Thank you for this question. Whoever asked this, this question. See, let's take example of magnesium stearate. So magnesium stearate chemically will have a steric chain and a magnesium ion. If we test magnesium percentage, it's matching. If we check steric content, it's matching. But then either the steric percent nor the magnesium percentage has any role in the formulation. What has a role in the formulation, as we have seen, is the particle size, surface area, the bulk density, and none of these critical properties have anything to do with the chemistry. So even if your stearic acid content is high or low, you can have high or low surface area, high or low particle size, high or low bulk density. So your stearic content or magnesium content will not have much effect on the functional parameters of excipient or lubricant, and subsequently they'll have not major role in the formulation. Whereas in API, there's something called structure-activity relationship. There's a very scientific, highly scientific studies being done on every API that if you change a methyl group to ethyl group, what is the change in the performance of API? Because that is going to fit in the receptor in the human body, and a little change in the methyl or the ethyl group is going to have a big difference in the way that drug is going to act on the human body, because there it's the chemistry which is fitting in like a key in a receptor, and if a little key is different, you cannot open the lock. But here the properties are physical. So it's physics that is important in excipients and not the chemistry, and vice versa to great extent in API.
Okay, thank you.
Welcome.
Another question on now, slowly the processes are moving from batch process to the continuous manufacturing. So what will be the scenario for the lubricant functionality during that time? Whether the same lubricants will work, concentration will work, or there'll be something else coming up?
Again, a very interesting question. And the continuous manufacturing is a science of tomorrow. And I'm sure in days to come, we all are going to adopt it. India today is not much in that area, but with the time we'll be there. It's like Tesla cars. So you are going to have automatic manless cars, and you are going to have, sorry, the continuous production and formulations. it will go, the pharma industry, it will be a disruption. It will be a total disruption. And that disruption will see a lot of changes, including the change, the way the lubricants works. So yes, there will be new challenges, but see, finally, lubrication of tablet or idli or football or anything, the basics are going to be same. You need lubrication. So tablets, as long as you're going to make tablets, you'll have lubrication. So if you have lubrication, then you have lubricants. So yes, there'll be changes, but basics will not change.
Okay, thank you. Now, there are some research going on biolubricants. Do biolubricants having some impact compared to chemically derived lubricants in the current scenario?
See, people are now moving to natural products and they are going to the organic products. So even for food, people prefer organic and natural products. Like colorants also, we had synthetic colors before and now natural colors are coming in. So same way, there'll be more and more biological excipients, natural excipients, organic excipients and lubricants will be coming in. And it's going to be a challenge. But yes, industry is ready. Nitika is also working on some natural and organic excipients, lubricants. So yes, we have to work on that, and industry will give it more products in line with the requirement of the formulators.
Okay, thank you.
Welcome.
Is there any impact of different percentage of magnesium stearate as a lubricant on rate of bioavailability?
Yes.
Studies on that?
Yes. I mean, the dissolution profile is in situ or in vitro reproduction of the bioavailability. So what we are going to do, like in the human body, we take a tablet. Tablet goes to the human stomach and intestine, and it gets diluted, integrated and diluted there, and the drug is absorbed in the blood. Then through liver, it goes to the human body at the site of the action and provides the relief at the required receptor site. Same way, in a dissolution test apparatus, we are trying to recreate the conditions that are there in the human body. So it's called in vitro testing, in vitro dissolution testing. So the temperature of dissolution test is same as a human body temperature, that is 37 degree, and the churning, the pH is simulated very close to the condition in the stomach. And when we saw the dissolution curve, it can be correlated directly to the bioavailability. So where you see a better dissolution, there is a very good chances that there will be a high bioavailability. Where you see a lower dissolution, there's going to be a lower bioavailability. Very clear cut, correlation.
Okay. Now we'll take just 3 more questions left, most important. Remaining questions, if still not answer, will be sending on email to the participants. Okay. So
Great.
the question is there. What is the impact of lubricant concentration on further coating material selection or polymer selection for coating?
Sorry, can you repeat the question?
Impact of lubricant concentration on further coating material selection of coating material, because the tablets after lubrication will go for the coating stage. So whether there is any impact on that?
Yeah, you mean to ask the effect of lubrication concentration on coating materials?
Yes.
Right? Yeah. Very good question, and I appreciate such intelligent questions. Maybe the points which I missed out in the presentation, I have been answering through these questions. See, when you are making tablets with a nice body, that is, tablets are shiny, that tablets are smooth. Obviously, if you want to paint a surface and that's very smooth and shiny, so the amount of paint is less. Whereas if you surface which is not smooth, which is not shiny, which is uneven, which is with the crevices, you need more paint. Same way, coating material is same like painting a surface. So with the right kind of lubrication, concentration, choice of lubricant, you are making the right tablets. Obviously, you will require less coating material to give the same coat, and that also will have impact on dissolution, further positive impact on dissolution. So all these things are very closely related. You make the right tablet quality with the right surfaces, and your coating material concentration requirement will definitely go down.
Okay, thank you.
Welcome.
There is a question, although it's more on export of materials and the business. What difference does it make in material with DMF or and material without DMF? I know it's a
Yes,
customer choice, but it's a
yes,
branding, so you can
yes,
elaborate further
yes,
on that.
yes. I would like to answer this question. This
Please.
question is very close to my heart, and I'll definitely answer this question. Unfortunately, in many countries, including India, we have two set of standards. One for the regulatory markets, one for the other market, domestic markets. So there we differentiate between the excipients like lubricant, which is used for regulatory market. Sometime it will not be chosen by the same company for the domestic market because of price and other considerations. Though we are Indians and we are making formulations for ourselves, so if you use the right quality, and we and our kids are going to have the same tablets. So if you use the same high quality excipients and lubricants, our quality of formulation also will go up. So when we file a DMF with the US FDA or with any regulator, we stick to those properties or those declaration which we have given, including surface area, particle size, etc., etc. So when you are making product with the non-DMF material, you might not be concerned with having a right narrow range of specific surface area, which you know is going to affect on your performance of the formulation. Also is the packing. When you pack like lubricants in bag and you stack them one over other, there is a study which tells you is going to affect your lubrication and dissolution later. When you pack it in a drums, that could be avoided. So if you are making a DMF material, you cannot pack in bags. It has to be mostly in drums to ensure the reproducibility. But when you are a non-DMF material, you can pack them in bags to save the cost. But at Nitika, we almost maintain the same standards in the same plant. The same plant is making material and sending maybe hundreds of tons to US every month and to India and to all over the world. So at least at Nitika, we are not differentiating in the plant. Like for many companies, the US FDA plant will be different and the Indian will be different. But for Nitika, we have the same plant where we manufacture the product for the US market continuously, is going to millions of tablets, and like kind of production we have, we are making about 130 to 150 tons of magnesium stearate, and from 1 gram, you can make some 10,000 tablets. So you can imagine, so billions of tablets are being made all over the world of the same quality, similar quality.
Okay, thank you. Can you please little bit elaborate on the use of co-processed lubricants, which is nowadays most of the researchers, they try to use it?
Correct. It's an emerging area, and as the world is moving towards specialization, the lubricants are also becoming specialized. Like SteroWet is one of the classical example of magnesium stearate with SLS. So where you want magnesium stearate to have lubrication, but you want that surface active properties should be lowered, that combination was used. And there are many such research is going on in many companies, including Nitika, where we are making the formulated excipient. Like for example, we have developed a formulation called Efferlube, which is for lubrication of effervescent tablets, where the soluble lubricants are used in combination with other things, so that you can have a single ingredient and you can punch the effervescent tablet, which give you a clear solution. So in the days to come, you'll see a lot more customized and such combination or formulated excipients coming up. That's thing for future.
Okay, thank you. And the last question now, more specific, in general for all excipients, what certifications needed for excipients to export to Latin American countries? Whether WHO is enough or you require additional certification, particularly for excipient manufacturers?
For the export of excipients, WHO is a enough certificate. So if you have WHO certification, you are welcome in most of the countries. Apart from that, there's a free sale certificate which you get from the local FDA, which tells that you are allowed to sell this product freely in your country of origin, That also helps. Some Latin American countries also insist on EU GMP. So EU GMP, WHO GMP, and free sale certificate. I think these are three key certificates. But there's one more thing, which is called EXIPACT, and EXIPACT is a very own creation of International Pharmaceutical Excipient Council. So EXIPACT is gaining importance lately. Nitika is a EXIPACT holder. So this EXIPACT is a certification designed only for excipients. Now what happens, sometimes WHO, they have their excipient specifications, but sometimes the auditors may not be well versed with the details norms of excipients. Whereas EXIPACT audits are designed to take care of the excipient from all perspectives, and I strongly recommend all the excipient manufacturers to go for EXIPACT audit. It's a lot of value addition, and it gives a guarantee to the formulator that he is getting the excipient from the right source.
Okay, thank you, Ravleen ji. At the end, I will just quickly give a thanks. But before I thank Ravleen, I must thank David Shoneka, who is an authority on excipients and veteran in Ipec Federation. He has joined all the way from US. It's early morning in US at where the place he is. So thanks there for joining us and supporting Ipec India as always, because you have been instrumental in our earlier stage also and the subsequently in the growth of Ipec in India. Thanks there for your participation, and we look forward for your continued support in future too. So Ravleen Singh ji, thank you very much for very comprehensive and insightful presentation. And finally, to all the participants for being with us today in a big number, in spite of challenges of working from home or with COVID-19 pandemic all over and the tension at home as well as at the office, and be part of this successful organization of this conducting of this webinar. So thank you very much, and we look forward to your equal same participation or maybe with your other networking professionals for our future webinars. Thank you very much. Now we close the webinar. Thank you.
Thank you. Thank you very much.